Use the sync button in DJ Pro. I'm DJ Spiegel Spin, and I'm gonna show you how. One of the biggest arguments within the DJ community is the use of the sync button. There's a lot of DJs that completely dismiss it, especially DJs that are old school and they played on record decks, and CDJs that didn't have a sync button. They say, "Oh, you're not a real DJ if you're using sync. It's cheating, and I never use sync." But I think that is complete garbage. I think that all the stuff that's featured in the DJ Pro app is you use it as a tool, and if you use it the right way, it's not cheating, and it can help you have time to do other stuff that's important with DJing. Because what it comes down to when you DJ for an audience is, are you playing the songs at the right time that they're gonna like? So people on the dance floor aren't gonna care, oh, he used sync or he did a manual beat match. They don't care. They just care if the song sounds good. And now, especially if you guys are repurposing smaller or older controllers, this controller doesn't have that many knobs or buttons, so you could use sync, have sync on, and then you can remap these controls. You don't need the pitch bender. You could put a filter in there or something like that. So the sync button gives you more opportunities if you want to map the controller. So keep that in mind too. This one I have mapped with DJ Pro, and I have effects, I have filters, just by using the unused knobs and faders. So also, it'll make it easier, instead of focusing on doing a manual beat match, you could just have sync set, and then you could focus on finding the next song and focus on preparing for what you're doing next. So DJ Pro's sync button is a little bit different than if you're used to Serato or Tractor or Record Box. So I'm going to explain to you guys how to use the DJ Pro one. So like in my other videos, I'm going to show you real quick where you could find it on the screen, and then I'm going to show you how it works. So the sync button in classic mode is up here, up in the top corner by where the looper is. And if you move around the mixer and the sampler, it stays put. 2-deck mode, it's right down there. Looper, you still could use it in the looper, which is pretty cool. And then 4-deck mode, you could use it down there. So every screen is available, and every controller I've ever seen has a sync button. It'll be right next to the play and cue button on your controller. So the one on DJ Pro, how it works is if you press it once, you're gonna match the same BPM with the other deck. So in order to have two songs playing at the time, they have to be the exact same BPM. So if you're playing a song that's 120 BPM and then another one that's 150, it's impossible to mix them together, and it's going to sound terrible. So it's very important. You could only mix songs together if they're the same BPM. And now, adjusting it on the touchscreen, we're trying to get to 127, is quite difficult to do with the touchscreen. It's easier to do on controllers, but even a controller like this has a very small tempo slider, and the range of motion is smaller, so it's going to make bigger movements. So it's very hard to adjust it with your finger when you're trying to DJ, and even if you're off by like a 0.5%, it's going to mess up the whole mix, and the songs are going to be out of time. So to solve this problem, you could use the sync button. All you do is, let's say, this one's 124.6, this one's 127. We're playing this song, and we want to drop the new song in. Instead of messing around with this slider, all you have to do is press sync once. So now it automatically is at the same BPM, just like you adjusted it manually. And then if you're one of those people that don't like to use sync and want to do the mix, and want to press the button at the right time, and want to do the mix manually, you still could do that. Just make sure you turn it off. So we're just using the sync button now to quickly adjust the BPM to the same. Instead of going there trying to do it manually, you just go boom. It's on, and now sync's off. So you're DJing without sync, but you just used it to quickly help you get to the right BPM. That is the way I use sync every time I DJ. If I don't want the songs in sync together and I want to do it manually, I'll always just press it once and there you go. Alright, I want to show you guys something that's really cool that involves sync, and that is Ableton Link. When you turn on Ableton Link, there's a whole bunch of apps that will link to DJ Pro, and then the sync button will work across different apps and across different devices. So you could use your phone as another deck, and then your phone could be playing one song, and then you could be playing two songs on your iPad, and they could be in sync through Ableton Link. Okay, so now if you guys want to use the full sync and then have the beats match together, so look at the waveforms. So those are the waveforms, and now I'm just going to randomly play the other song, and it's not going to be at the right time. See, that sounds terrible. So to fix it, you could either adjust the jog wheel, adjust the waveform, or you just press sync and it matches the beats together. So instead of getting the beats together, manually adjusting, which could be hard, even if you could do it on regular equipment, it might be a little bit hard and tedious to do on the iPad screen. So it'll mix the songs together, but it's not cheating because you still have to use it at the right time. You can't just throw it in sync and then say that they're mixed together. What you could do is like this. So I'm going to mix the end of this song into the beginning of this song to do a kind of a smooth transition. So here we go, and we're going to use sync. So this song's ending, and we're going to start blending. So now if you have the sync, if it's highlighted up here on both sides, once you drop the song, it's going to be at the correct time. So you don't have to worry about pressing the button at the right time. So I'm going to purposely do it a little bit off just so you guys see. And you saw it snapped it into place. And as long as the sync button is still engaged, it will keep them together. So just be careful. Some songs, if it's like a classic rock song or a song that was actually made with a real drummer and real instruments, it's going to be hard to do the sync because it wasn't made on a computer like electronic music or like hip-hop music. So be aware of that when you're using sync. Now, sync also works with the looper and with the sampler. So we have a 127 BPM song, and now we're dropping in some looper, and it's automatically in sync to 127. And now if you raise or lower the BPM of the track, it's gonna automatically raise and lower the BPM of the loop. So that means that your looper and this track that you're playing are gonna be matched up perfectly together. And also with the sampler, if you hit this record button,
this is insane. This is insane. This is insane.
And now it's gonna be with sync when you are playing. So if you wanted to add like a little effect, a little vocal, or maybe like your brand name or your DJ name, so I added the hey to it, and you guys could play around with that. So sync works with the looper, it works with the sampler, it works with the different decks that you're playing, and it also will work if you're scratching too. So a scratch that I do a lot is I'll go like this. I'll go, ever, oh yeah. And now if I have sync on, it's gonna sound really good. So let's adjust the BPM, 100. You got sync on. Now turn your track so that it's playing. And then when your finger's on it and you're scratching, it's going to stop the record. But then when you let go, it's going to play. And then it's going to snap right into the sync. And then we're going to move the crossfade. And you saw how it just doesn't matter when you let go. It adjusts and it'll snap it back into place. So I hope this helps clear it up to you that there's nothing wrong with the sync button, and it's a very helpful tool. Even if you just use it like I taught you, just to adjust the BPMs so that they're the same, it's very valuable in that way, and that's how I use it every day when I DJ. Or if you want to have the songs mixed together, especially with the looper and especially with the sampler. And if you guys have tried Ableton Link and you've linked into other apps, the sync works perfectly across other apps and across other platforms. So if you guys want to learn in detail how to be the best you could be at DJ Pro and DJing with the iPad, I'm also making videos about DJing in the metaverse. So subscribe to this channel, and I make videos every day. Thank you.